The Oxford Dictionary definition of responsibility is the state or fact of being accountable or to blame for something. This in itself is interesting in relation to the question, can we be responsible for our unconscious biases such as racism?
To be a responsible citizen of the world, it would be our duty to be accountable for the unconscious biases that one may have. This leads neatly onto the question of how do racial biases actually form, and is it our own doing? If not, how do we hold those with abhorrent racist views accountable if they are formed by situations outside of their control? Furthermore, is an unconscious bias an issue if it is not acted upon, and should we only be responsible for the actions that we may commit, not the biases that we may inherently have?
Many researchers suggest that this bias automatically occurs as the brain makes reflexive judgments based on our previous experiences, producing attitudes or stereotypes that affect our understanding, actions and decisions that work outside of our conscious awareness. Hence, as a result of this, certain people benefit from unconscious biases while others are condemned or penalised. Recent research in social psychology suggests that people harbour implicit race biases. This is because awareness and control have conventionally been viewed as a necessary moral responsibility, therefore presenting a unique challenge. Do we dismiss discrimination based on implicit biases due to its unintentional nature, or do we sanction discrimination regardless of how it comes about?
To expand on this idea, behavioral psychologists propose human behavior is a product of experiences, the environment, and upbringing. Therefore, no one is given the luxury or rather right to choose their surroundings, so the extent which we control our behavior is a vague line. Meaning, we choose the nations to trust instinctively in accordance to the conditioning we have received from our education system. But if all countries teach the facts of history to their offspring differently, how are we meant to unite and support each other, whilst we are constantly reminded of the truth their grandfather killed ours? If so, why the government won't change anything? No nation on earth is nation because they come from the same gene pool. They are a nation because they are given a dream to believe in. This is called patriotism, and teaching this truth is the education.
I agree. If we touch onto the ideas of everyone having the same ideological upbringing, then why is it that some people or establishments are inherently biased, whether unconsciously or not, towards others because of their skin colour or their nationality? The Met Police in London was recently under fire of accusations of having inherent racial bias, which I'm sure we can all accept as an extremely negative thing, but is it only an issue if it has an impact on the lives of those they serve? Or would it be acceptable as long as no one suffers and they keep the peace? I personally would argue that a service that runs for a diverse population such as ours cannot and must not be institutionally negatively biased towards a certain group of people. But I digress. Returning to the question at hand, we first have to understand what racism is and how unconscious biases are actually formed.
Exactly. Although we all have biases, many unconscious biases tend to be exhibited towards minority groups based on factors such as class, gender, sexual orientation, and more. The extent to which we are responsible is contentious. For example, one psychological theory suggests that we are born into the world as a tabula rasa, a blank slate, which essentially means that we have no pre-prepared mental content. Ergo, we learn everything through our interaction with our environment, socialization. Consequently, this suggests that we are a product of our upbringing and our biases are passed down to us. On one hand, we create our biases as we are not innately born being prejudiced. However, on the other hand, we cannot help but inhibit these as we have been taught them, which makes us question if it is really our fault. We do not actively think about our biases, however, these unknowingly influence our actions.
So this would imply that in answer to the question that no, we cannot be responsible for unconscious biases such as racism, but we can be responsible for how we act and our responses to our own biases, and it is for us to be held accountable if we allow our own biases to have a harmful impact on those around us.
I agree.